Hello, everyone. It's nearly the end of Sunday here in the UK. It's 3 minutes to 7 p.m. It's still a Sunday though. My favorite day of the week, not the year, but the week. Yeah, because every Sunday I get to speak to awesome drummers. And like I said, it's 3 minutes till 7 here in the UK, which means it's 3 minutes till 3 a.m. in Manila. I'm pretty certain most of my dear friends there in Manila are already asleep. But if some of you are still awake and joining us, welcome to Ask the Drummer. Um, well, like I said in my guest announcement post, this week we're going stateside because our guest is actually from New York. And there it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And I'm really, really pleased that he said yes to doing Ask the Drummer. I saw him and his band. I think it was June this year. They played at the Cavern Club in Liverpool, and it was absolutely amazing. I mean, it's like pure rock and roll, like really, really good. Um, so my dear friends is here now, live from Rochester, New York. My dear friends, please welcome Mike Boyce.
Hello,
Yay!
everyone.
Yeah. I've got to be careful not to say Mike Joyce.
It's okay. So,
Because I don't know if you're aware, but he's got a book at the moment. So he's very much in the public eye and promoting his book and I just realized it sounds very much like Mike Joyce, like Mike Boyce,
yeah, I
Mike.
always wanted to call my daughter Joyce, but
Oh,
her mother wouldn't let me. Joyce Boyce. That didn't work. It didn't work out. So
Joyce Boyce,
I
right?
thought it was cool.
Yeah. Well, like I said, you're in New York at the moment. So how are you? What's the weather like in New York?
It we got a cold snap. So the weather turned last week. We went from uh, not mild but cool temperatures to cold and snow. So, in
Oh,
being here in upstate New York, Western New York,
yeah.
we get the lake effect from the Great Lakes. So it we get a little bit extra when
Yeah.
the snow falls. So yeah,
It, Rochester is quite far from like New York City, right? It it's like a few hours, I think, if you're driving or maybe flying to Rochester.
yeah, about
Is it
5 or 6 on the road, and automobile 5 or 6 hours, and then 45 minutes
on the
by
plane?
plane.
Because the only reason I've heard of Rochester is I believe Sheena Easton is performing there
Oh,
in
is she okay? Okay, I
yeah,
didn't.
in
I didn't.
January.
Is she, okay, that's right. She is the Kodak Center. Yes. So
Yeah,
Kodak film,
yeah.
Kodak cameras. That's what we're famous for.
Oh right. Okay. Well, the reason why is because when I saw it posted on social media, I thought, oh my god, I love Sheena Easton. And then it says Rochester, New York. So I googled it, how to get from Manchester to Rochester, New York. And I thought, no way. It's like, I won't be able to do it because it's like from Manchester to like I think New York City or JFK, and then you have to go to another place, and
Yep.
it's a longer one. So no, I won't. I won't do it. I'll give it a miss. Hopefully, she'll do some gigs here in the UK
Yeah.
someday.
Catch her on another trip. Yeah.
You're not going, are you? Are you going to see Sheena Easton?
I am not going, but I would go to Tina Easton. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Right.
That brings me back. That brings me back many years.
Yeah, yeah, me too. So how have you been since your UK tour in the summer of this year?
Very good. Very good. We rode high off that UK tour. It was great. We all came back smiling ear to ear. We all, we were rocked out because we ended up in France, Spain, and France after that. The Escena Festival in Spain was unbelievable. And then from there, we went to France, got to spend a few days south of France, and
Yeah.
then ended up in Paris. And and then back home. It was great.
Yeah. I saw some photos on your Facebook page. You did some sightseeing in
We did.
Liverpool and in London.
Oh yeah, we made sure to have we had a couple days in Glasgow. We made sure we had a couple days in in London, and then a couple days in Paris. So it worked out really well for us.
Yeah, I love those photos from outside the Cavern Club. And
We're-
you went to Strawberry Studios as well. So no, not Strawberry. Sorry, Strawberry Field. Sorry, I
Yeah,
was thinking
no,
Strawberry Studios in Stockport, where I am. But
that's our yeah, that's our. We had a great time at both places. Both places were fantastic. I mean, Cavern Club, we were in awe. I think we took maybe 500-600 pictures, and then scoured through all of those, and they were all great. We loved them all.
oh,
In the Cavern Club, there's just nothing like that.
yeah, oh yeah, I love it. I love it there as well. I mean, I was there last Thursday. Yeah, I was there last Thursday, and I was just chatting to someone who's very, very well versed about the Beatles and everything. So, walked around, and then he told me where the original cavern was because that wasn't the original and things like that. So,
Yeah, right.
it,
Yeah.
yeah, it was quite good. But anyway, so welcome to Ask the Drummer. Episode 192 is all about you, Mike Boyce.
Awesome.
So where are the boys from? Originally from Rochester, or did you just move there, or where are they from?
Yeah. So we are from Rochester. John Camerasano is from the Bronx, in New York. So he's from New York City, and then he transplanted to Rochester, I think about 25 years ago. And so, we've known John for a long time, and he jumped into the group a couple of years ago. So that made us five, and four from Rochester, one from New York City.
Yeah. What about your family? You're
Yeah,
all from there? Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. My parents been here. My grandparents were from here, so we've been around for a while.
Yeah, yeah. What's it like? What's Rochester like when you were growing up, especially music scene?
So we had great music scene here in Rochester. There was a great nightlife, great clubs, a lot of local music. A lot of great music stores here. A lot of history of rock and roll music here in Rochester. All heavy metal music. I think Metallica recorded their first record, "Kill 'Em All," here. So there's been Eastman School of Music is here. So growing, Hochstein Music School is here. So growing up here, it was a great rock scene.
Yeah.
And so it was easy to jump into that. Yeah, and growing up in the '80s, it was a music and going out, nightlife kind of place. It was good.
That's good. Are you from a musical family?
So I am not at all. No. Uh,
Okay.
Interesting story. How I, got into the Chesterfield Kings was the original drummer, Doug Meach, was a great family friend of ours. And when I was young, probably about 8 or 9 years old, he would take me to the original practices and, studio sessions. And I got to hang out with the band when I was a young kid, picked up the drums, obviously. And then when it was my time and Doug left the band, it was easy for me to slide right in.
Yeah, I thought. I mean, apart from the new, see the bass player, no, like keyboard player and guitarist, the other young looking, because I thought I did look into the history of the Chesterfield Kings, and
Okay.
they've been around since 1979, and I was all like thinking, you don't look like someone who's already maybe in his 20s in 1979. I was like,
No, no, not at all. No, there's been quite a few in and out. The brothers, the two brothers, Ted and Jeff Okalowitz, they were
yeah,
back in the band back in the mid '90s, mid to late '90s, and then they left to pursue some other stuff. And Andy and Greg and I continued on, and then you know, Greg, the original singer, left, and now the two brothers are back, and we decided to, you know, play some music and make some new music and hit the road.
So, because of the original drummer of the Chesterfield Kings, that's how you got into drums, or did you learn? Did you try and learn other musical instruments?
That was, that's interesting too. Well, I started guitar. Everybody, every young
Oh,
guy I think wants to be a guitar player, a rock guitar player, and I went to play guitar. We went to the music store, and the original drummer, Doug, he took me to the music store. And actually, Andy Babuke, who's the original founding member of the Chesterfield Kings, was working at a music store. And they said, "Okay, you want to play guitar?" I said, "Yes." And Andy handed me a guitar, and I'm trying to strum on the guitar. And he said, "Wait a minute, are you right-handed or left-handed?" I said, "Right-handed." And he grabbed the guitar, and then he flipped the guitar back over, and he handed it back to me. And okay. And I fumbled around with it for a minute, and then I picked up a pair of drumsticks and said, "Okay, maybe this will be more my style." And that was it. So
so it
I've
came
always been.
natural. It came
I'm sorry.
natural to you. Play. It came natural to you playing the drums.
I think it was easy. Guitar is really hard. The piano is really hard. The saxophone is really difficult to play. Reading music is very difficult. Playing drums, muscle memory, energetic, that's where it's at. So
And did
and I always thought it was, my parents got tired of spending money on anything that wasn't going to be used. So I said, a pair of drumsticks, how expensive could that be?
and did you have proper drumming lessons, or are you self-taught?
So I did, I got a little bit of basics for a couple of years in high school, and then after that, it was just feel and on my own. Buying books back then. It was books and magazines.
Yeah,
There was no internet, no YouTube tutorials or instructional videos.
yeah, yeah. So I always ask the guests about this because I do believe that drummers are born drummers. That it's natural to them. Would you say that's true, or what do you think about that?
Yeah, I do believe that. Yes, the way I see it is some drummers are very musical. They're drummers, like Jeff Porcaro, Steve Gadd, who, the greatest drummer in the world, who is from Rochester, also.
All right. Wow.
They're very musical, and they have a knowledge of, other instruments as well. They can write music, they can play music, and their drumming comes across as very musical. I have an appreciation for that. And then there's drummers like myself who are very, love, put our heart, energy, love the sweat, love the adrenaline, love the power of it, and um, you know, love the pain that comes with ferocious, crazy, high adrenaline, high octane drumming, and that's the category I fall into.
Oh, so once you've learned how to really play the drums, um, was just the Chesterfield Kings your first band, or did you have any other band before joining them?
So I played in a couple of bands in high school, a couple of friends from the neighborhood, but that was really it. Um, it was I was really young and ready to go, looked the part, all the important things, that go with being in a rock band. I had long hair, I was a skinny guy, and I wore a leather jacket, so it was like you're in. I had a set of drums, and that's all I needed. So, we kind of went from there and made it up as we went along, and eventually, just progressed into that loving that style of music that we play. It was easy.
But nothing. You didn't join the band that sort of like made it, recorded, and got signed, and until
Nope.
you joined the Chesterfield Kings. Because
Yep.
I did look you up on Discogs, and there's only one band that was mentioned in there, which is the Chesterfield Kings, of course. I was all like thinking,
Yeah.
because when I read up about the Chesterfield Kings, and I realized that they've been around a long time.
Hmm.
Um, so you only joined them in 1993? Is that right, or 19
96.
96?
1996. Yep.
Because I mean, if you think about it, it's like nearly 50 years that the Chesterfield Kings have been playing,
Yes.
and
Yep.
and I was all like doing the maths, and I said he can't be that old.
Well, no, no. Well, and that's why I say it was, it was easy to join the band because I was always there. As a kid, I was around them. I always followed the band. It's fun that, you get to join your favorite band, and then hit the road and do great things.
Did
Uh,
you audition for them, or was it just you're the next drummer because Dog is like a family friend,
you know,
so
they, they
well, it's you.
it was interesting because I went to, as high school friends, the two brothers, Jeff and Ted Okalowitz, that are in the band. They had just recently joined the band, and they said, it needed a drummer, and, there was
Yeah.
kind of a revamp of the lineup. And Andy and Greg said, okay, we need a drummer. Do you know any drummers? And they said, we do know someone. And they said, okay. And then when they described who I was, they said, well, we know Mike. Why don't you ask him to come down, and we'll see what kind of chops he has. And I went down one night and sat down behind the kit, and that was it. The rest was history. We'll see you next Tuesday. Okay, I'll be here.
Yeah,
So
because you're already a fan of theirs, so you know all the songs.
So
Is
we
that
knew the music. Briefly went over things beforehand, and then they put me to work. It was
brilliant?
great.
Yeah. Well, I've also discovered that the Chesterfield Kings is a brand of cigarette. Is that uh,
Yes.
so? So is that still available in America? The Chesterfield Kings, or Chesterfield Kings, not the Chesterfield Kings?
Yeah. Yeah. No, no, I have not seen. The last time I saw a pack of Chesterfields was, I think we were in maybe Spain, Madrid, and and someone was smoking. Was very proud to come up to us and offer us a Chesterfield. And light up a Chesterfield with us, which we did.
You mean last this tour
No,
in?
no, we're going back about 25 years.
Okay.
But maybe about 20 years ago, I saw that. That was the last
Yeah.
time I've seen a pack of Chesterfields.
So, what was it like joining the band? Because you're the youngest.
Yeah. Yep.
Uh, did they look after you, or?
It was nice because I could share stories. When I was younger, I wasn't allowed in, but the road manager Victor, he would always, make sure I got into the shows. Being underage, or I would go with my family because we knew Doug, the original drummer. Um, but they were, yeah, they're my brothers, absolutely big brothers. Now, we're all, again, there's a brotherhood there. We all look out for each other. We live so close to each other, so we see each other quite a bit. We take care of each other. If there's something we need, we're there for each other. So it's nice. Not There's not a lot of bands that actually live in the same area anymore. Maybe they get together for a few rehearsals before a tour, and then they go out on the road, which could be good as well. A little too much of seeing somebody might break up the band, but we have a very nice arrangement here,
Yeah,
so it works out well.
yeah, and I just so like assume that being the youngest, you know, there's even if there's a fight or anything, they'll just sort of like see you as the youngest brother, so just be like protecting you or something. Do you get that, or is it when it comes to a band and then it's all like equals? It doesn't matter whether you're the youngest one or the
Yeah,
old.
I guess it's kind of funny, and the hierarchy kind of changes, as we, have progressed through the years. Members that come and go. Um, you know, I guess I'm going to say no. No, it was, pull your bootstraps up, get behind those drums, have a great night, and then, we'll hit the road. So it was, it's always been uh, a shared equal love and
Yeah,
attention.
yeah, yeah.
But not that they wouldn't, give me the shirt off their back at any moment, or if they thought I needed, a big brother boost, they would
Yeah.
be there for me.
But do you mind me asking you, how old were you when you joined them?
So I was early 20s. I was born in 1971, and like I said, I was about 8 or 9 years old in 1978, 79, when I've Doug first joined the band,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
started recording and rehearsing with them. And then it was about 15 years later that I joined the band. So I was probably about 25, I think.
When you joined them?
I
And
was,
you've
yeah.
been drumming, yeah, you've been drumming with them since you joined. You didn't leave. You always been the drummer since
Yes.
1996.
Yep.
If I can just sort of like take you back when you were younger,
Yeah.
what did your friends think that you're friends with this band? Because I presume that they're like the local heroes in Rochester. So, what did your friends think?
It's well, my friends,
Yeah,
my friends always knew, that's something, I just because I was always playing, and I was on that scene, but I wasn't. It's funny. I was from another side of town, and we were doing one thing, and then the guys in the group, a lot of guys. The funny thing about it is they it was other musicians in town that said, "Who the hell is this guy? Where'd this guy come from? Who's this Mike Boyce guy? Who's this Mike Boise guy? We don't know who he is, and where did you find him?" Richie Scarlett was playing with Leslie West, and we used to do a lot of shows with Richie, and he would say, "How do you guys find the? How do you find? Where'd you find this guy? Where do you find these young guys that come in and they're rocked out and they love this and they love what they're doing and they have this heart and passion for staying rocked?" So those were the funny stories. Not so much my friends. They knew that was going to happen someday, but it's the people that didn't know me that said, "Where the hell did you come from?"
all right. Well, when I first saw you, when the band came out
Yeah.
at the Cavern Club, I mean, I knew that they're like, rockers from the from the old days. But
Right.
then
Yeah.
you came out, and I thought, wow. It's like- and then there was another young guy as well, of course, and he joined later, I think. So you were there first. You were a member of the band before he joined.
So yeah, so John joined, but I think you're talking about Jeff, who's actually a few months younger than I am. Um,
Okay, yeah,
so
yeah.
he's that's Jeff Okalowitz. He's one of the brothers. He was him and I are the same age, and then his brother's about a year and a half older than us. So at that point, we had we were all close, and most of the band was closer in age,
Yeah,
but we all act like kids, and we still act like juveniles. So I mean, we just have more wrinkles and more gray hair. That's all. But we still all act like young, like we think we're young guys that are
yeah. It must be fun though during the tour, and then you're all in like the tour bus or whatever, and then you're all sort of like together. Because those photos that I saw, I just thought, oh my god! I mean, they seem to be like really enjoying it. That photo with John Lennon, that was like,
yeah. It was that so when we were in Liverpool, we went to our hotel, which we stayed at the hotel. I can't remember, the Hilton or whatever it is, right there next to, it's attached to the club, I think, the old Cavern Club. And they were having issues with air conditioning. Remember, it was really hot. There was a hot street coming through, and It was great because there was only a couple rooms that were available, and one of them was the John Lennon suite, and the other was the Paul McCartney suite. So Andy took the Paul McCartney suite, and I took the John Lennon suite. So we ended up upgrading our rooms in the hotel, and we just thought we were big shots. So we were riding high in Liverpool, before that show. But we were all in awe. We were just I saw McCartney came through Buffalo a couple of weeks ago, and Andy and I went, and it was unbelievable, and to see him, to see that Hofner bass, to know that we just played at the Cavern Club, all that
Yeah.
history, it's what a great year for me, fabulous
What do
year,
you think of Ringo? Ringo Starr?
the best, just the
Yeah.
best, the groove master, and the best self-taught drummer ever, ever.
Yeah.
So
What
I
what
love Ringo.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah.
um, so, well, I mean, this is really interesting. I think when I was doing the script for this episode of Ask Drummer, the most interesting thing that I found. So, not long after you joined the band,
Mhm.
um, there was a film about uh, about about the band, and I couldn't tell. Like, I thought maybe Netflix will have it, or Prime, Amazon Prime, or something. So I couldn't find it because I wanted to watch it. And then I looked at the synopsis of the film. So apparently, the drummer, which is you, got
Uh-huh.
got abducted by an evil alien.
Yes, Andro, the evil alien. Yes, that was tough. I thought I was a goner.
Can you tell us more about this film and how can we watch it? Is it just is it available on DVD or something? Or
Well, I hope not, but no, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. That was some time off. We had some time. We were just in between records. We were in between doing stuff, and Greg wanted to. He was very interested in. If he wasn't into music, he would probably be a filmmaker. His creative film making juices were flowing, and he decided he wanted to make a classic B, Toxic Avenger style independent film, kind of like Ed Wood meets the Three Stooges, and he had that his synopsis was just like you said. Okay, Mike's gonna get thrown in a pillow sack, kidnapped by aliens, and we're gonna have to rescue him to make it to the show in time. You know, so it wasn't rewriting history. It wasn't Academy Award winning, but I think it was available to rent from Netflix for quite a while.
oh really?
It
Oh
was,
cool.
yeah. You could. It used to be back when Netflix would send a DVD to you, and you would watch it that
Oh
way
I see. Yeah,
before
yeah.
streaming. So I don't think it made their streaming list. You might be able to find something like that at on eBay or something. But
So whose decision was it that it's got to be the drummer who's been abducted by the alien?
I don't know. Maybe these guys, like, who I don't know who's the guy. I think the drummer gets picked on the most. The least, I don't know, the least favorite member. I don't know how that happened. I'm not sure how he decided it was going to be, Mike the drummer, but I'm glad it was.
And so was this shown in cinema and
For a minute, yeah. It was that was difficult. That was right around 9/11 when
oh really? Oh gosh, yeah, yeah.
in it was 2 weeks after we're going to have a premiere in Rochester at the George Eastman House, Eastman Kodak House, which we did. And then we were going to have a premiere. It was 2 weeks. The premiere was supposed to be 2 weeks after 9/11, and things in New York. And it was funny because we decided to pull the plug on that for the moment temporarily. and the promoters in New York were like, hey, wait a minute, this is New York. We move on. We're moving on from this. And we said, okay, okay, but we're going to take a pass for now. And maybe we'll revisit this kind of when
Yeah, yeah.
things kind of settle a bit. And then that was it. It kind of, we jumped into the next project and that went away. And then we ended up just hitting the road, and, the video just, of the movie Where is the Chesterfield King just became part of our souvenir collection, I guess.
Oh, so you've got a copy of it.
I'll send you one. I'll send you a copy. You can have my copy.
No, it's very interesting because it's always like, according to this, so the band members traveled all over the world just to find you, and also to sort of like make sure that the evil alien doesn't conquer the universe or something.
Yes, yeah, that was fun, only because, like I say, we didn't have much going on. You know, we did, whenever we were out on the road somewhere, and especially, and whether it was, France, England, Spain, we would, and especially if there was some kind of landmark, or, we were in a famous area, we would,
Yeah, yeah.
pull out the camera and take some shots, pull out the script and the camera and say, okay, we can film this here. We can film, all right, everybody line up. Okay, everybody look around, so we had a good time with it.
It sounds like you're all like having a great time in the band, and like it really enjoying it. Do you get a lot of time when you go to, say, when you were in the UK? Do you get a lot of time just touring and sightseeing, and
You know,
or just straight to the stage or the venue or something like that?
I tell my family, they, whenever, my wife and daughter, when I get ready to go away, or I announce a tour, they, dad's going away, dad's going, and then I try to explain it's 1 hour of just great playing, high energy, experience, and then the rest of it is bouncing around in a car. That's it. Bouncing around in a van, a bus, a car, a taxi. This is it. Just driving around. 8 hours. The scenery is beautiful for the first 3 hours. Then it gets, you start getting sore and achy. Then it gets beautiful again. And then, you step out of the van or you step out of the car, and, you stretch it out. You go do the show, and then it's back in the car. So this tour, we made sure that, we were going to definitely see the
Explore.
sights. We
Yeah,
were going to go to the museums. We were going to see everything that we just drove past last time.
yeah,
So it was great. We got to spend so much great time. The most United Kingdom, Scotland, England. It's the most beautiful countryside I've ever seen. It took my breath away a few times. As we're driving, I thought, I want to be here forever. That's how much I fell in love with it.
yeah, yeah. How long were you in the UK?
So we spent about 5 days there, 6 days, I think it was 6 days, and then we were off to Spain and France. So
Yeah,
we went Glasgow to uh, Leeds, Liverpool, and then London.
London. Yeah. So when you're out, like when you were in Liverpool, you went to Strawberry Fields and having your photograph with John Lennon.
Yeah.
What about the fans? I mean, obviously, with the way you look and everything, you all look like rockers, like a rock and roll band. So, how did how did the people react, or did you get sort of like people saying to you, "Oh, can I have photographs and things like that?" Or
Yeah, everybody. We were walking. I think it's funny. Guns N' Roses was in town around the same time, so we were over by London Bridge, and we're walking around, and and there's a million tourists all around us, and everyone we passed, I think that's Guns N' Roses. Is that Guns N' And we probably 10 or 15 people asked us if we were Guns N' Roses. We had a handful ask us if we were Aerosmith, but never disappointed when we said no. Can we have a picture anyways? Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So we hold the look wherever we go. We're at the grocery store, people know who we are. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Wow.
and
You're
everywhere we
okay with
went,
that. Because I know you're just not like sightseeing, but you're okay if people ask you for photographs and things. So you're okay
absolutely.
with
Yes,
yeah.
absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, yeah.
Oh
It's always fun. That's why we do it. I think
yeah, yeah. And do you know because you've got a new album out as well? Was it released this year or was it last year that you released it?
so.
We're all what's it
Last
called now?
year,
We're all still the same.
right? Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, that,
Uh
that came out last October.
yeah, because I've looked at your Facebook page or the band's Facebook page.
Yeah.
You've done some really amazing things like competitions, and you've got this like golden ticket or something like that,
Yes.
or
Yes.
a golden record.
Yep.
That's just incredible.
That was yes. That was fun. Yes, we had great fun with that. That was you know um, that stirred up some excitement. I think we were probably more excited than anybody else, wondering who was going to get the golden ticket. So we did a
Yeah,
couple of them. We did a couple of them, and then the London show. When we did the London show, we did it. We just did a giveaway. So whoever bought a ticket was put into a drawing, and they won the same package. The Gretsch guitar. Um, you know,
really.
Yep. Thank you, Gretsch and Andy Babukes, Fab Gear. Put up the guitar, the Gretsch guitar for that, and
Yeah,
and then
and
all of
records.
the
It's like
catalog.
a bundle of records in there as well.
Yeah. So pretty much every record that we've put out, in every single, every compilation, almost every, not all of them, but
Gosh. So I saw the one who won.
mhm.
I think she's in America or something. So
Yep, in Maine. Yep.
who won the competition in London?
So it was a gentleman we called up on stage, and that was pretty funny. So we announced the winner,
Yeah.
and it took him a minute to get on stage, and he kind of slowly walked up on stage, and he got on stage, and everybody's waiting, and he walked over to the microphone, and we said, "Hey, you're the big winner," and he said, "Thank you." And then we said, "What do you think of that guitar you won?" And he said, "I don't play guitar."
Oh no.
And I crashed a cymbal, and he headed off stage, and then that was it. That was it. So it was a little anticlimactic for him. We were more excited than he was, and I think a few people were out there ripping their ticket stubs, and throwing it in the air. But that was a fun time. So he did get his package. Our friend in Maine that won, at a record store in Maine, she got her package, and I think there's one more golden ticket out there.
Wow. That's just incredible that something that a band will do something like that for the fans. Because it
Awesome. I'm
must
glad you think so. Good.
well, it
It
must
was
cost
fun.
you a fortune.
It was fun. It was fun. And it keeps, everybody stays interested, So now, bonus. You get a great record. You get our heart and soul that was into that record. And, you get to come out and see us.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's fun.
So this is the first album that you released with you as the drummer, because I think so. What happened with? So I'm a bit confused. So they've been playing since 1979, but then
Yeah.
there's like a gap, wasn't that? So they didn't play for a while, and then
Right.
you
So
joined.
yeah, so my first record was a compilation back in the '90s, a 10-inch that we did, and then we did a couple other compilations where the action is. The Mind Bending Sounds of the Chesterfield Kings was my first original LP with the band. That came out in 2000, 99, maybe 2000, and then Psychedelic Sunrise came out 2005, I think it was 2004, 2005. And then around 2008, 2009, we were tired. and kind of like Forrest Gump, when Forrest Gump is running down the road and everyone's following him and he doesn't
Yeah.
say anything until finally he stops running and he says, "You know what? I don't feel like running anymore. I think I'll go home." And that's kind of what happened with us. We said, "Okay, we're ready to go home."
Yeah.
Uh, the live music scene was kind of non-existent, kind of fading away in Rochester, in this area. New York City, reluctantly, CBGB's closed. There was, Joey Ramone's Coney Island High. There was, a lot of the great clubs and the great venues and the underground venues we used to play just weren't there anymore. And so we kind of took some time off. Andy and Greg wrote, they wrote a couple of great rock and roll books. Andy has this Beatle Gears book. He also wrote Rolling Stones Gear, the Bigsby book. So
Oh,
he had some great success with those. We were older and tired and raising our families and went on to, pursue some other interests that we had. I opened a restaurant here in New York for a
oh,
while.
wow.
So I had a restaurant for about 4 or 5 years. And then, as our families grew and got older, we
Yeah.
decided to dust off the Beatle boots and start making some music again.
And that
So
was 2024 when
that,
you did that?
that was probably about 20 that was probably about 2021. You know
2021.
2021 after the pandemic.
Yeah, yeah.
Once all that cleared up, we had closed our restaurant and we moved on to playing together just to play and write some music, and then that turned into, hey, why not? So
Yeah. Yeah. So during this gap, you didn't join any other band? You didn't play the drums at all? Or?
so I played the drums. I mostly played the drums. I did uh, some lesson programs. I did play with Jeff Okalowitz and his brother. We did
Oh,
some lesson groups, and then yeah, we just I took probably myself. I took about 6 years off of drumming completely.
and opened the restaurant
Right,
for that
right.
one.
Yep, yep.
Yeah. Well, what kind of food were you serving at the
So
restaurant?
it was, so it was a good restaurant. I loved it. Yeah, I'm still sad to this day. Unfortunately, we opened it up right as the pandemic was hitting hard, and we were closed down maybe a week after our opening. For about 6 months, and we opened as a very nice refined dining restaurant
Oh, wow.
in the Finger Lakes. We were right on Cayuga Lake in the Finger Lakes of New York, and it was a resort experience.
Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
so that was that was great. It was called Salt of the Earth, and then we closed that, and that's right around the time we started recording. We're still all the same. So we had Ed
Oh,
Stasium came up. He flew in from California to help produce and record the record with us, and we spent about 2 weeks in the studio, and
yeah,
then closed the restaurant. And after that, it's just been okay. Let's go. Now we want to play. Now we want to perform.
yeah, yeah. Well, when you had the restaurant, I mean, sorry to ask you about this restaurant. It's
No,
just really
please.
interesting that, I mean, you must be like a local celebrity there. Do people do people expect to when they go to your restaurant, do they expect to see you there and serving them or something?
I was incognito. I was really good, so I kind of kept my rock and roll identity to myself for the first, maybe for a minute. And then, everyone would ask, why do you have so many pictures? Why did you call it Soul to the Earth? Why do you have so many pictures of the Rolling Stones? And, why do you have all these rock and roll and, pictures? And, So it kind of, in the music we played, everyone expected a good soundtrack when they came in at 8. That's what they were there for most. So,
Oh,
but now, now that I close the restaurant, uh, everyone's happy to come see us play. So
yeah, yeah. And you've got again, I've seen it on your Facebook page. You've got gig coming up in December. I believe it's like a Christmas show.
we do, yeah, yes.
Is that in Rochester or no, sorry, I think it's in New York City or something. Or...
No, it's in Rochester. It's
In
about,
Rochester. Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, that's nice. It's 10 minutes from home, so
Is that the only one that you've got left for the rest of the year, or do you have more
it
gigs
is. Yes. So that will we'll finish up this show, and then we're back in the studio.
for the next album?
Yeah.
And I think so. Have you always been sort of like contributing your drum parts, and or is it just the first time for this album? We're still all the same. Sorry, we're still all the same. Because what I wanted to ask you is like when you record an album, so the songs do they already have like drum parts, or who normally sort of like writes? Um, right, the drum beats for the song? Is it just they tell you, okay, this is what we want you to do, or do you come up with the drum beats yourself?
So I come up with my own parts. Obviously, if there's something that if somebody comes down with some chord progressions, a riff,
Yeah,
has some kind of phrasing or melody, and there's a particular drum part that they're hearing in their head, they'll explain it to me and say, "Hey, I think it's a boom, 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 here and a boom, boom, boom there." I can, I'll do my best to follow along with that. But for the most part, no, I come up with my own parts
yeah, yeah,
for
yeah,
all the records. Yeah, yeah, even going way back to the records in the '90s and stuff. Unless it's a cover song that we're recording, and then we always put our own flavor on that as well. So
yeah. Because you do like to include like your live set. You did a cover version of what was it now? But the set list that I got from Liverpool at the Cabin Club, there's like several songs that you can sort of like choose from to do as a cover.
yes, yeah.
So you don't play the same so like cover song at the gig. So every gig. So maybe in Leeds you play a different one, and then Liverpool a different one again, and in London. So how do you choose which one to play in every city that you go to?
So we'll mix them up. A lot of it is how we're feeling. Some of the songs. A lot of those songs. Like for instance, "It's Cold Outside." There's that's a great vocal song. A lot of vocals. If somebody's under the weather, is sick, losing their voice, we may
Yeah,
not choose to perform that song that night. If we can't
yeah,
hit the harmonies. And then others, it's just kind of, we'll feel it out. If people are, really into the songs, if they're looking at the set list, if we ask people, what they want to hear, and they tell us they want to hear more of a Stones flavor, then we'll play something in that vein. If they ask us to play Motorhead, we'll play the Ace of Spades. We'll dig into, something a little heavier, so.
yeah. I just realized because I looked at my the folders that I've got, and I just realized after searching for it on Facebook that night my phone battery ran out. So I wasn't able, because I thought, because normally I'd search my YouTube channel and put, uh, say, the Chesterfield Kings, the Cavern Club, but nothing came up, and I thought I must have recorded at least one song from them, because the other band, Len Price Three,
Yep.
who supported you,
Yep.
there's also nothing from them. So I sort of like searched my Facebook page, and that's when I realized I didn't have my phone.
Okay.
I
Right.
run out of power. And I think it says something like, make sure that your phone is always charged because my ticket, the train ticket back to Manchester was on the phone. It was like,
Right. Ah, I hate when that happens.
which is a shame. And it's like, I've only got a few photos of the band. And normally I actually video the drummer because what I do when I go to a gig, I make sure that I'm at the front where I can see the drummer. And I just haven't got any footage of you playing.
That might be a good thing, Anne. You may not want to see that.
Well, when are you coming? Do you have any plans of coming back to the UK?
Absolutely,
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, like I said earlier, uh, there's nowhere in the world that I've been that made me feel as just blown away as the UK. So we will be back for sure. I think we had some great shows everywhere we went. And the interesting thing is we were Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, so we were in, rough country when it comes to, trying to fill a club on a Monday night or a Tuesday
yeah,
night is not easy. It's not easy on a Friday or a Saturday night, but on a Monday or Tuesday, it's even worse. So, we had good turnouts, and it was just as successful as it could be. So we really want to get back.
yeah, yeah. And please, can you include Manchester next time you're back in the UK?
Yes.
Liverpool is fine. It's not that far, but Manchester would be easier, a lot easier for me. So I get to.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I can't remember. We did have one other show, and I know that was canceled. And again, it was because the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, beginning of the week difficulties. So
Yeah,
we combined a show, and Len Price Three. They're great. They get around. They knew right where the best places to play, and so it was cool. It was cool.
yeah.
We will be back.
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing you in the Chesterfield Kings again, and hopefully closer to me next time. But before I let you go, because I mean, thank you so much for all these. But I've got four more questions that I ask our
Okay.
guests regularly. First one is, I think I have seen you do this. You twirl when you play live, don't you? You do the twirling of the stick.
So if I do, I may do a spin, and it may appear that I'm twirling, but I don't twirl. I do not
Oh,
twirl.
you
I am not a twirler. No, 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 no. I don't. But in my reckless abandon, sometimes pulling my shirt sleeve up, it may appear that I'm twirling, but I think that's just the, the
an
flash of the
illusion or something. It was
But
But what do you
I can't twirl. I've never been a twirler. I have students that come in, when I used to teach, and they could twirl, and they would sit the whole lesson, entire lesson, twirling every finger back and forth, spinning this way, throwing them up, catching them down. And then I would say, play a beat, and
think?
nothing. But boy, they could twirl that stick.
Sorry, I got that's all like from too much laughing. I think I've got a bit of from that twirling thing. But what do you think? Because I don't know if you've seen a flock of seagulls live, but the drummer Kevin,
Okay.
he's like an amazing every time. It's like twirl, boom, twirl, boom. It's
Yeah.
like-
I've not seen them, but I know like Carmine. So, Carmine Apiece, one of my favorites all time.
yeah,
The best American rock drummer ever, and he can, with power, with authority, on
yeah.
the fly, he can spin, slam, pull, push. So.
Is that
Uh,
something that you'd like to practice and maybe do in
I used to and I used to say, you teach me when you learn how to play that beat, you're going to teach me how to twirl those sticks, you
Oh,
know.
right.
So,
Okay, well, next question is drumming heroes. Do you have any drumming heroes?
I do. So, obviously Doug Meach, first and foremost. He passed away back in 2007. He was the original drummer of the
Yeah.
Chesterfield Kings, and he is my drumming hero. I have his old gear here. His family passed that on to me, and that means the world to me. He meant the world to me. Um, he is first and foremost number one. And then, like I said, Carmine, and when he was with Vanilla Fudge,
Yeah.
that is just some of the most awe-inspiring drumming that I've ever seen. The typical, John Bonham,
John Bonham, yes.
you know,
Yeah.
obviously, Charlie Watts, and Ringo. The backbeat there is,
Yeah.
just so those are, that's definitely my list right there. And then I'm sure I'll come up with, a million other ones. Jack DeJohnette, the first time I heard, Bitches Brew and Miles Davis on the radio, and I'm listening to the World Cafe, and I'm saying, what is that? And how is he making those sounds? And believe it or not, he's, behind an acoustic drum set making the, you know, the sound of a drum
Yeah, the biggest,
organ.
loudest one.
Yeah, so
Do you still go to gigs? I mean, not your own gigs, obviously, but do you go to and see other bands yourself? Or?
other bands like a maybe a small theater or club show. Yeah, so I have friends here, and I try to get out when they're playing. Our nephew is a great drummer, and he has a band here that he plays with. We go out and see them. Like I said, I just saw Paul McCartney 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, yeah.
Blew me away. So if
Who?
I can, and if there's something happening, definitely I get out.
Yeah. Do you know who is drumming for Paul McCartney?
Yeah, so a great story, and I won't keep you with this one, but Abe Laboriel Jr., who's been with him for maybe 25 years, and we were guests, so we got to be backstage for the show, and Andy and I were at the show, and so talked to we talked to Abe, and strange enough, down in Ithaca, New York, near Cornell University, they have a great farmers market. And right before we opened the restaurant, I used to shop at the farmers market, and I see this big guy with this big brown beard walking past, and my daughter and I said, Abe, and he looked over. He said, "Hey, how are you?" And he's just the most gracious guy, the best, most beautiful person, human being, drummer. And he introduced himself to me and my daughter, and that was about 15 years ago. And I saw him a couple of weeks ago, and he said, I live in, over New York in the Finger Lakes. And I said, that's right where our restaurant, and I have a small lake house down there. And I said, and I tapped him on the shoulder, and I said, that's why I saw you in Ithaca that day, and we reminisced about that story. And he's just a beautiful person. And
Wow.
again, another inspiring drummer that I'll put on my list.
Yeah, yeah. And did you get to meet Paul McCartney himself?
So, so I did not get to meet Paul, but I will say this: I did get to interact with Paul on stage, because we were right up front. We were about 9 rows back, and um, and Paul was talking about George Martin, and I was crazier at that concert than I am behind the drums, and I let out a ow, a couple of screams, and he ow back to me, and I thought that was pretty cool. So that made my night. That made the trip.
So even when you're backstage, you didn't get a chance to see him, and
No, I didn't.
no.
No, but the rest of the band is fabulous. Everyone's
Yeah.
beautiful and wonderful. Yeah, yeah.
Wow. I was gonna say, did you get a photo with them or something? Because I was like,
No, I didn't. I didn't. But I do have the YouTube video of him yelling back to me. So that will forever be
yeah.
that'll forever be on my phone. So
But do you get starstruck, or I mean, who's your most favorite drummer that you met in real life?
I'll say, and it's with, unfortunately, unfortunately, with, a heavy heart, Clem Burke was a great friend
Oh,
of ours. He played with Andy in the Empty Hearts. He was such a great. We did a CBGB's Save CBGB show back when CBGB in New York was closing, and we did a big benefit to keep the club open, and Blondie was there, Public Enemy, a lot of folks, folks from Talking Heads, there, it was a great turnout, and we all had to share the same hot, sweaty trailer, and Blondie and Public Enemy had a bus, and air conditioned bus, and Clem made sure that everybody got into that nice, cool, air conditioned Blondie bus, and that we were all comfortable. We were playing South by Southwest in Austin one year, and it's a crowd of thousands of people standing around us, and I feel a hand on my shoulder, and I turn around, and it's Clem. You know, hey,
oh,
hey, pal, how are you? How are things going? Whenever we saw him, our last tour in Los Angeles a couple years ago, had no idea how sick he was. He showed up at our show and he stood for the whole thing. And, so Clem was, I'm going to say, if there's anyone that inspires me to be just a great human being and pass on from one drummer to another and one human being to another, I'm going to take that from Clem Burke.
oh, yeah, he really was, and he played at the cabin as well. I remember seeing him at the cabin club. So
Awesome. Awesome.
yeah, 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 that was a sad day when when it says in the news that he's gone. So, but anyways, right, okay. So, what about drumming disaster? Have you ever had any drumming accidents? All these years that you've been playing drums.
So yes, there has been, so we started back in the day when there was even, small clubs, small places. We would show up, some of these towns that we would show up in Spain, Italy, Slovenia. We would show up, and there would be a cardboard box, or a pool table with a half a drum set on it, with maybe one cymbal, one small speaker, a stereo speaker, and then one small practice amp in the corner, and we would get in, and I'd jump up on this pool table, and we would, go at it, and about two songs in, power out, and all you see is the red ash from lit cigarettes, a sea of, red embers from cigarettes, and then we would try to play something acoustic, and then the end of the show, no more power in the town or the village. Another time we were playing, and it was so loud. I remember the stage was so loud, and the distortion was so bad, and the sound engineer was really struggling to keep up with the wattage that we were pumping out. And a couple of times the distortion was so loud, it kind of was an out of body experience, and it picked me up and set me back down on my seat like like a sonic boom. And so that was scary. And then other than that, just a few mishaps, breaking
Yeah,
stuff, but nothing really serious, knock on wood. That's, besides those things,
yeah.
you
No
know
blood, no
no,
blood sort of coming out.
there's always blood. There's always
There's
blood.
always blood.
Yeah, the hands,
Yeah,
and if there's no blood, then we didn't play good. That's how I see it.
yeah. Because I mean, especially when you travel abroad, of course you're not bringing your own kit
Right.
because it's like an extra thing to carry. how do you find the house kit? Like at the Cavern Club, that's the house kit that you used, wasn't that? Or
So that wasn't so. Luckily, the promotion that we use and the promoters that we had for this tour were fantastic. So what they did is they had a back line in a separate van, and uh, they drove that to each UK gig that we had.
oh,
So
okay.
I had, so it was nice that I had the same kit for uh, the same classic Ludwig kit for Glasgow, Leeds, Liverpool, and London.
Oh,
I brought my snare drum, my bass pedal, and and my seat. I actually travel with my own throne because that's usually the worst piece of equipment is the throne or the stool. And
okay.
so I want to make sure that I'm comfortable behind. I can play behind any kit. I just want to make sure that my butt is comfy,
Oh,
so and I can get the right angle and the right height. So that's pretty much it. I travel with my snare that I played for the last
I
30
see.
years, and my seat and my pedal. Those are the three most important pieces that I need to have. Usually,
Yeah.
a lot of times when we do travel or we do play a house kit, it can be a nightmare, and it's usually old, and it's usually can't withstand the beating, and that's always fun too. So
And that affects the performance, doesn't it? I mean,
you know
or,
um,
or you can adjust. You can just sort of like make it sound what how you want it to sound.
it becomes part of the performance because when the cymbal stands are breaking, and the drums are falling apart, that's always a good. That's a good crowd pleaser. Everyone can get ignited, when they see the cymbals crash off the stands, So so sometimes there's a little silver lining in there. Okay,
But when you're
it's
back
okay.
home, when you're in Rochester, you have your own kit that you always use with
So I
you.
do. It's interesting. Now I have my kit that I have set up in my home. I have and I have a few different kits here. But I have my one, my Ringo kit that I play. My classic Ludwigs, and then I have. So then when we practice at the studio space, the Fab Gear Studios, it's interesting. Andy bought a big Ludwig, and Clem Burke loved these Ludwigs, these big, huge drum, 26-inch bass drum, big John Bonham drums, deep toms, deep, 16 and 18 on the floor. And when he got that drum set, he said, Mike, you're the one that's going to tame this drum. You're going to tame this beast. You're going to go in. And I said, okay, let me at these drums. And I tell you, and I hit those drums and they hit back. When I hit, they punch back twice as hard. And
Oh,
okay, okay, these big drums, and I'm going to get these big, so those were challenging. And again, that's a higher setup, a 26-inch bass. So I kind of get used to it. I go back and forth, and
yeah, yeah,
we just kind of, after the first couple of songs, I'm warmed up. I'm ready for a new kit. It's okay.
yeah, yeah. Because it fascinates me. Like the loads of different brands, even drumsticks. There's I found out doing Ask the Drummer that there are actually different types, like different widths and numbers. They have like 5 or 7 or
Yeah, yeah,
things.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
You
So
know,
they make a difference.
It does, yeah. And I used to say that every little thing. And the drumsticks I carry my own drumsticks. And if I had to use a different wood, I
Yeah,
used to use an oak stick, and they would destroy my hands. There's no forgiving. They punch back too. So the way I play, I would be ruining my equipment and my hands and my body. So I stopped using the oak ones, even though they last longer. And then I went to a hickory stick. Cymbals are the same thing. When I use a rental place, like house cymbals, they might be large and thick. Every hit is that much more energy and that much more strength that I'm not used to playing in a set, that wears me out quicker. So yeah, every little inch matters, every little centimeter matters, but we make do. We just make
yeah,
do.
yeah. And do you tune your own drum kit? It's called tuning as well. There's a drum tuner.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Yes, yes, I do. I do. And that's changed over the years. I tune them very loose. I like them instead of the stick response. I like the tone that I get. I like a deeper, warmer tone, especially if I'm playing on a house kit that has small toms, smaller drums. That I need to get a bigger sound out of. It used to be when I was younger, tighten, 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 tighten. Just the tighter it is, the better it is, and the better I'll play. But I've since become a smarter drummer, and I make sure that I have a good tuning and good stick response and good skin response.
That's fascinating things about drums. I mean, you see the guitarists, so like they tune the guitar on stage, so like after every song. But with
Right.
with drummers, they don't. They just so like you know, they wait for the singer to tune the guitar, or the guitarist tune it for.
Right, right, yeah. Usually I'll sneak in. Usually the snare drum, that's the one. The lugs will come a little bit loose, depending on how many rim shots, and I'll give that a little twist, or I'll check that. But other
Yeah,
than that, no.
yeah.
So one
And
and go.
so Ludwig is your favorite brand of drums. Is
Yeah,
that yeah,
absolutely. Yes. Yeah.
yeah,
Ludwig is my preferred kit. Yes.
yeah,
I love all vintage kits. I have a couple of Rogers kits. I have a Premier kit. I have a Slingerland kit. So, anything, the vintage, sound and wood turning and, wood grain and that, I love older wooden drums.
wow. That's just to me it's really fascinating things because the one thing I also ask, I don't know if you're being endorsed by a company or by a drum company, because sometimes when I know that a drummer is being endorsed by a drum company, I ask them whether it actually makes a difference whether they're playing the drum kit that they're being endorsed by, or just using another brand or something. But of course, they can't say that. If you're being endorsed by someone, you've got to say that they're the best, aren't you?
That's it. Well, the best thing about an endorsement, and I had a Ludwig endorsement years
Oh,
ago. But the good thing about that is there's options. So the best thing about having an endorsement is that there's more options and it's less expensive options. That I don't have to purchase a drum set and then get it on the road with me and find out that it's not the one.
yeah,
I have I had a Sabian cymbal endorsement, which was great because symbols that I normally wouldn't select for my style of playing, the rep selected for me, and that was brilliant. A game
oh,
changer. So now I have these symbols that go perfect with my playing. That he was able to match up with my playing,
yeah.
and so but those
It's
brands.
always good. Yeah, it's always good to be endorsed, I think, by a drum company. A really good one. So
Absolutely, yes. Even sticks, yeah. ProMark sticks. I'm going to throw it out there. I'm going to throw it out there. ProMark sticks. There's nothing comparable.
yeah, I just remembered because before I ask you the final question is, I went to see Rusty Egan,
Okay.
um, and I just found out a few days ago they said he was a drummer before he became like a club promoter and like a DJ and things. So has anyone ever said to you that, oh, he's just a drummer? Like, it's not like dismissing the drummers, because I say that it makes me sad when people say that he's just a drummer or she's just a drummer. It's almost like, I mean, they're important. They're part of the band, and they're equally important as the singer or the guitarist or bassist. So, have you ever had any experience like that?
You know, I haven't. I'm going to say I might be. No, I haven't. I really haven't. I've heard all the jokes. I've heard every terrible drummer joke there is. And so a lot of them I laugh at. I think they're funny. But for the most part, no, I've never really, obviously, I came up in a band the Chesterfield Kings, where we had such a charismatic singer. Greg, our the original founder and singer of our group, was just so charismatic and so energetic, and just did
Yeah.
so much on stage that obviously people gravitated, right towards him. I think, as the drummer, I may be the least assumed, I don't know, maybe I'm not the flashiest guy in the band. So people think I might be the road guy. I don't know.
Oh,
I'm the last one that they come up to say hi. I don't know. I don't know.
no, I always make sure that I look at the drummer and make sure that, that, like I said, I mean, it's a shame that I wasn't able to video you, but maybe next time when you come back to the UK, then I will definitely do that. Make sure that my phone is fully charged and everything. So, final question now is, what would be your advice to aspiring drummers or musicians in general?
This could be a very very long answer. And, I would say it comes quickly. And by saying that, as far as a drummer, and maybe this could hold up well with a guitar player or a piano player, it's about muscle memory. And in your practicing, we always tend to turn the corner or flip the switch very quickly. So, like when I try to learn how to play something, it doesn't show up in one day, but 3 days later, it's going to be there. Maybe 2 days later, it's going to be there. So
Oh, yeah,
it's just, don't get too discouraged, and and just stay your course.
brilliant. Thank you very, very much, Mike, for
Thank
saying
you.
yes to Ask the Drummer. And I look forward to the band coming again and coming
Excellent.
to the UK and playing again. So it's 2 o'clock there, or maybe 3 o'clock there now in New York, isn't it? Yeah,
It's,
around
yep,
that time.
yep, 3 o'clock. Yep.
Yeah, yeah. Well, so enjoy the rest of the weekend,
Thank you.
and not good luck, but I know enjoy or have an awesome gig, the Christmas gig in Rochester. And of course, I won't see you now, but have a very, very happy Christmas and a wonderful New Year, and hopefully see you again in 2026.
Woo!
Oh yeah, I'll remember
Awesome.
that now. I'll look it up on YouTube after this one. So that
I'll
ow.
send it to you, man.
Thank you so much, Mike. See
Thank you.
you.
Happy holidays, everyone. Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
take care. Take care always. See ya.
Bye bye.
Bye. Bye. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us live. Aiden O'Rourke, our tech support, he said a very interesting conversation. I totally agree. It was that was so good. And so hopefully, well, fingers crossed, they'll be back next year in the UK, the Chesterfield Kings. Their album, the latest album, which is We're Still All the Same, they're available to purchase now. So if you just Google it, maybe from Bandcamp or something. I forgot to ask him, but yeah, just Google for that one. I don't think we can get the golden ticket anymore. There's still one out there apparently. So there's one in, but I think most of this will be in America, not in the UK. So I thought we'll be winning a Gretsch guitar or their records bundle. But congratulations to all those who won it. Um, when I saw it on their Facebook page, I just thought, oh my God, that's like an absolutely incredible competition. And it reminds me of that Charlie and the Chocolate Factory as well, which is really good. You buy a chocolate and then see if there's a golden ticket in there. So that's exactly what they've done. So you buy a copy of their album, and then hopefully there'll be like a golden ticket inside it. But anyways, good luck to whoever gets the golden ticket. So it's called We're Still All the Same. My friends in America, if you haven't bought a copy of the Chesterfield Kings record yet, their album, go and buy one. You might win that guitar and all sorts of things as well. So good luck to all of you. But anyways, thank you so much to Mike Boyce. I really enjoyed chatting to him. That's live from New York, a place called Rochester, which is a bit far. Like I said originally, Sheena Easton, anyone in Rochester, my friends from Rochester, do check it out. Sheena Easton is going to be performing there in January, I believe. So, right, that's it for me for today. I'll be back next Sunday with another awesome drummer guest. I think it's going to be another late one. It's 7 o'clock because I've got another record fair to go to. And then the week after that, I'll be off because it's the Shack tour, winter tour. It starts on Friday actually in London. So tickets are still on sale. If like Michael Head, go on, that's one. The Head Brothers for Shack. So the tour starts on the 10th and until the 16th. So that's the reason why I won't be here on 14th, the Sunday the 14th of December. But there's one more episode of Ask the Drummer before the year ends. And we've got an amazing drummer for the Christmas episode. So do check out the Ask the Drummer Facebook page for more information. But for now, thank you again, Mike Boyce. And as always, love music, love life, love drummers. They're absolutely amazing. They're so cool. We've seen Mike Boyce. He's one of the coolest drummers I've ever met. So see you all next week. Good night to hear people, my friends here in the UK. So and have an amazing week, brand new week tomorrow. That's it for me for now. Thank you so much. Bye for now. Bye.